Greenland. What is your vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting them potentially to
Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful.
This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. Donald Trump believes that the U.S. will annex Greenland as NATO leader tells him the organization will sit out potential takeover. And for anybody out there wondering what that means, annex, it means to add to one's own territory by appropriation. And appropriation, of course, means the action of taking something for one's own use, typically without the owner's permission. And this is an important video. Again, I've covered Greenland, I've covered Canada as the 51st state and what this is all about. And I'll break this down for everybody out there, how we're in this position right now, where we have Donald Trump, who is supposed to be opposed to the New World Order, who is bringing in these New World Order initiatives. So share this video with others and try to wake them up. For anybody out there that doesn't know, the Club of Rome, the United Nations, there has been a plan in place to create a 10-kingdom plan with America, Canada, and Greenland becoming one. It would be called the North American Union. This actually goes back to the post-war New World map from 1942. And for anybody out there wondering, the map included a manifesto describing a, quote, New World Moral Order. New World Moral Order. So remove the word moral and you have New World Order. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, wait a minute. All of a sudden we're hearing about Trump acquiring Greenland and acquiring Canada. These are things that weren't even thoughts in the majority of people's minds. And I don't expect people out there to know the Club of Rome's plans. I don't expect people to know what's going on at the United Nations and the Bilderberg meetings and what they're conspiring about. But that's what the plan has been. And that's why you're hearing about this acquisition of Greenland and Canada becoming the 51st state. It has nothing at all to do with minerals and resources. Those are mind control talking points to make you think that this is in your best interest. Ooh, we're gonna get minerals. Ooh, there's fresh, clean water up there. And of course, the notion that Donald Trump gave that all of the bad guys are up there circling around Greenland, like China and Russia. All the boogeymen are just driving boats around Greenland because apparently they really, really want Greenland. And of course, they want to spy on us from up there. So we better get Greenland now. All of a sudden, in the history of the earth, now all of a sudden, we need to get Greenland immediately. It's for our best interest. It's for, this is something that could be detrimental to America's safety if we don't get Greenland. So those are the talking points that they're using to get conservatives on board with the United States merging with Greenland and Canada. Had this been done a year or two ago with Joe Biden, every conservative out there would be listening to people like me and what we're actually saying. They're putting up a wall and refusing to believe it because they're under hypnotism from their alt-right media, because that's who's responsible for convincing them that this is a great thing. None of these shills will talk about the Club of Rome, the United Nations, the Bilderberg meetings. They don't talk about any of it. They'll occasionally bring up the World Economic Forum and never mention what the topic is at the World Economic Forum or break down everything they're discussing there like channels like this do, because they want you to think that they're on your side by just bringing attention to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and calling him Dr. Evil and making memes about eating bugs and all these things. They don't break it down for you because they don't want you to understand, because if you understand, you might actually wake up to what the real trap is, which is the left and right paradigm. They're using the conservatives to bring in the New World Order. And this is all being done thanks to the controlled alt-right media. And this is all about convincing you that this is for the benefit of America. And they're using humor as their mind control tactic. So we have Charlie Kirk. Greenland is getting closer. Huge update on Greenland's path. And again, none of these conservatives would ever have given a thought to Greenland until the last couple of months because they're pushing it down their throats. They keep hearing about Trump wanting Greenland. Then they keep going to the alt-right media who's telling them about lithium, telling them about rubies, telling them about all these resources that really they shouldn't care less about because it's not like it's going to their front door that they're going to be bringing rubies to your home. But they hear that stuff and they hear about America becoming a superpower and they're on board and they don't even realize that this is part of the New World Order blueprint. So Greenland's getting closer. Charlie Kirk. Ben Shapiro, need I say more about controlled opposition, the face of controlled opposition along with Alex Jones. The USA's new frontier, Trumpland, right? Matt Walsh, the 51st state, why a total conquest of Canada and Greenland would be great for America. So they're convincing you that this is what's great for America. So the more you hear it through repetition, which is the key to mind control, the more people accept it, agree with it, and think that this has nothing to do with the globalist plan, right? And of course, they've used people like Matt Walsh to get you to think that he's on your team because they deliberately brought up all these ridiculous issues and pushed you to the brink of sanity or insanity, I should say, by talking about men playing women's sports and getting into the schools with guys dressed as women reading in libraries, all this stuff that drove regular, normal, sane people insane. So Matt Walsh was the face that was out there of sanity, right? He had his documentary, What is a Woman? And everybody out there was like, yes, this is hilarious because we actually have to discuss what a woman is. That's how insane they've deliberately made things so that you focus on just getting a little bit of sanity back in your lives. Now you think that these are your friends who are giving you news and information, and they're not. We should never even have been debating these types of topics or even giving our time or energy to them. And of course, most recently, Matt Walsh, Am I a Racist? Playing into the whole diversity and equity and inclusion and white people being racist, all this other stuff that they've done to drive people insane. And right on the poster for the film, you could see what team he's on. Let's look at the one-eye symbolism right there. This is one of the ways they reveal themselves through signs and symbols, right? People out there should know this. Everybody who's a conservative who claims to be awake knows of the Illuminati and the one-eye symbolism, right? What did Matt Walsh not know? Nobody told Matt Walsh. This is blatant all-seeing eye symbols, and they often do this on movie posters. I've covered this before with even movies like Star Wars that would use covers like this where they'd have Harrison Ford with one eye exposed. And of course, this is it. This is a collage of every single celebrity doing the one-eye symbolism. But when it comes to their people, right, the ones that they like who pretend to be conservative, they'll turn a blind eye to it all, right? Just like they have this obsession with the government's fed conspiracy about Jeffrey Epps and his island, and they turn a blind eye to all these photographs of Donald Trump with the guy at parties mingling over and over and over. There's dozens of pictures of him with Puff Daddy, right? So they believe in the government-created conspiracies because that's what the flight log story is, which is why it's never getting solved, because it's a government-created endless rabbit hole. That and Diddy, right? They believe in those theories, the conspiracies, I should say, that they're feeding them. But then when their conservative people are yoked up with them, they turn a blind eye. So they'll turn a blind eye to Matt Walsh because Matt Walsh made them laugh, right? Matt Walsh made everybody laugh with What is a Woman? And then, of course, we get Alex Jones. We get Alex Jones on board with this, right? Elon Musk tweets, if the people of Greenland want to be a part of America, which I hope they do, they would be most welcome. And Jones tweets out, love it, 1776 worldwide. And it just shows you that Alex Jones is fully controlled. That's just more confirmation, that, as if anyone should need it at this point. The entire charade with the Hook at Sandy trial was all done deliberately to set a precedent for what you can and cannot say and how much money you get sued for trillions of dollars, victimizing Jones out in the open, right? He's still got InfoWars. He's still worth millions of dollars. He's still, nothing happened to him. That was for the rest of us to tell us what we can and cannot talk about, to make you afraid to talk about these things and say that they're false flags or psyops. That's the whole purpose of it, right? And of course, Jones, if it wasn't enough of a giveaway when Jones was inside of Bohemian Grove, because he would never have lived to get that footage out to the public. He would never have left there alive, okay? He wouldn't sneak in with the camera. The security there is like the same type of security at the White House or somewhere along those lines. You never get in. Nobody would. If any of us tried to, we'd be shot on the spot. So Jones has already proven this. But what's funniest about it is Jones was actually talking about in 2000, around that time period, the North American Union. He was talking about how the New World Order plan was Greenland, America, and Canada. And look at him now. He says he loves it, right? So it shows you that he's fully compromised. Now, was he compromised then? I'm not sure because, people like Bill Cooper were saying that Alex Jones was an agent back in the 90s. So I'm sure that he was, but he probably was talking about it then because it wasn't something that was on the horizon. It wasn't something that was happening in the year 2001 or 2 or 3. So by pointing it out to his audience, they were just saying, wow, this guy really knows a lot of stuff. And now that it's actually happening, he's on board, right? And I love how he even puts in 1776 worldwide, because that's just a little clue. Because this whole 1776 thing isn't about the formation of America. It's about the formation of the Illuminati. The Illuminati, May 1st, 1776, the Enlightenment era. That's what it's about. And that's what's continuing. It never disbanded. It never disbanded. It only expanded. So I want to play for you some clips so you could see the mind control tactics. On my channel, I try to show you, pay attention to the repetition, how they're doing something, how they're pushing it on you, right? To get you to accept it. There's all different tactics that they use. They're using talking points like minerals, how it's for America's safety. All of a sudden, we need Greenland, or we're in big trouble, right, without Greenland. We really need them, right? They're using humor to get you on board. They're doing stuff like this, the 51st state, United States, Trumpland, right? Then at the bottom, the other side of the wall, right? Because Mexico currently, and in the Club of Rome's blueprint, is not mapped in with the North American Union, but I believe eventually they will be. The Gulf of America, an anti-European moat. So listen to these guys talk about and use humor about Greenland. It's pathetic. Canada's just, it's funny. We should just take Canada because it's funny. And the dumbed down MAGA audience, of course, thinks that it's great. They're like, yeah, let's just take Canada for the sake of taking Canada. They're our little brother. We're the big guy on the block. Let's just take it for the sake of taking it. Let's wage war on Canada just because it started out as a joke. And now, let's just do it, right? Listen to how they're marketing this and manipulating their audience into thinking that this is kind of like a silly little thing that they're doing and not a New World Order initiative.
If we're only 1,500 votes away from tipping the scales, we're getting closer. So what does this all mean? If we want Greenland to be part of the United States of America, which we do, this is positive momentum to force a yes or no referendum to first and foremost get Greenland to leave Denmark. President Trump has been doing his job and has been offering an olive branch. President Trump has said we will invest billions of dollars in Greenland. I hope you understand that billions of dollars in Greenland would change their country forever. We love Greenland and we can be a great partner with them. From infrastructure, they'd be part of our Medicaid system, which is not exactly awesome, but it's probably better than what they're getting now. It's barely 50,000 people. And many other countries are salivating to be able to conquer and take over Greenland. We would offer support. We'd give them financial security. Not to mention, we would have access to rare earth minerals, to oil deposits, to gold, to rubies, to gems. The bad guys are conquering Greenland. We want to partner with them. You see, Russia and China wants to conquer it. We want to partner with them. Invite them into the family. We want Greenland to be in the United States of America.
Offering to buy Canada. Trump is proposing that we just take it. But Doug Ford seems to think that we're haggling over prices here, and he also seems to think Canada can afford to buy a U.S. state, which is more than a little suspect. Now, at the same time, as amusing as the idea of taking over Canada is, the plan that Trump is floating for other parts of the North American continent is, I think, a bit more serious, with some very real economic and strategic implications. The main benefit of conquering Canada is just that it would be really funny. It would be the first conquest in history launched primarily as a joke, because in all seriousness, I actually wouldn't want Canada, mainly because of all the Canadians that are there. If we could get the land without the people, that that could get, I wouldn't, I mean, there's some things we you only go so far. We don't want the land that badly. But the idea that we should buy Greenland and take over the Panama Canal is, while also being kind of funny, still very serious. There's a lot of wailing on the internet, as you would expect, but it's the right answer. There's no reason for us to rule out anything at this point, especially when our national security is implicated. It also puts you in a much stronger bargaining position if you don't show your cards ahead of time. If we take over Greenland, we'd gain an ideal position for shooting down missiles from countries like China, Russia, North Korea. We'd also gain access to rare earth minerals that are useful for various military technologies and batteries and so on. Greenland is a massive piece of land on our continent that has basically nobody living on it. I mean, the actual population is about 56,000, which, to put that into perspective, is significantly less than the average capacity of a professional football stadium. Those are all the people living in Greenland. So why shouldn't we at least discuss the possibility of acquiring it?
Donald Trump has now deployed the Crown Prince, Don Jr., to Greenland because that is the next American territory. Go back to our map there for a second. Just want to show you the map. Look how big the United States is going to be. You see right north of us, there's this country that used to be called Canada. As we know, President Trump has been talking about making it the 51st state. And I know that Justin Trudeau is out there tweeting how it'll never be the 51st state. But he has no say in the matter, because when we invade, he will be shipped to the Panama Canal to work the Panama Canal. Don't worry, I'll get to the Panama Canal in just a second. That's right. More America is better. It's, as you can see on this map, Trumpland, which is huge. Trumpland used to be called Greenland. It will be renamed Trumpland, and it will be made in inherited fiefdom of the Trump family, I would assume. In actuality, we really should actually take Greenland, though, because Greenland actually is quite a vital place territorially. The United States actually spends on the military defense of Greenland. Like right now, we have military bases in Greenland. We use Greenland's northern border in order to protect Arctic shipping. Right now, it is supposedly and officially Danish territory. It is home to the U.S. military's Pituffik Space Base. And of course, it's very important because as ice melts in the Arctic Circle, there are brand new North Atlantic shipping lanes that have drawn interest from Russia and China, and Denmark ain't doing a thing about it. So either Russia and China are going to have an impact there, or we are going to have impact up there. It is home to the U.S. military's Pituffik Space Base. It is home to the U.S. military's Pituffik Space Base.
And of course, I played for you that clip at the end twice where Ben Shapiro mentions the Pituffik Space Base, which is located on Greenland, because that is actually important to what's happening up there. Because don't forget about Elon Musk's Occupy Mars initiative and how Donald Trump and him continually use repetition to tell you that we're going to occupy Mars, because Mars is right up there. Yeah, right above Canada and right next to Greenland. Devon Island is where they're going to carry out all of their fake Mars landings and all of their filming, and even convince people that there's people walking around Mars. They've been doing it for a while. All the fake pictures you see, all the simulations, all come right from Devon Island. So acquiring Canada and Greenland really fits in with what's coming next. So Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, you heard these guys, Charlie Kirk. Obviously, we know who they get their orders from, the little hats, tiny little hats. And even having Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro at Donald Trump's speech a few weeks ago should have just sealed the deal for everybody out there, right? And of course, they had this transgender activist who most people believe isn't the gender it claims next to Matt Walsh. So they could remind you, hey, remember, we were talking about all this stuff about what is a man, what is a woman. We promised that we bring sanity back. So we told you, now it's back, because now men can't play women's sports anymore. So continue to listen to us. We promise you. Now we'll continue to promise you that what we're talking about is in your best interest. And what they're talking about is the New World Order's blueprint. That's what they're talking about. You look under the comments because you say, well, I don't think people really are on board with this Greenland stuff, right? I commented a few days ago, look at the government operative celebrating and the sheep in the comments. This is the North American Union, part of the NWO blueprint from the Club of Rome, how easy it is to deceive. I wrote that under Charlie Kirk's video 2 days ago. I got one thumbs up. I'm not one to track thumbs ups and thumbs downs on my own comments, right? But I got one thumbs up. And I looked through the comment section here. Look at this stuff. Let's do this. Roll up Greenland. 17 thumbs up. Yes. Let Greenland into the American family. And these are all comments that were made like within 10 minutes. They had that many thumbs up. So by now they probably have thousands of thumbs ups. But yes, let's let Greenland into the American family. Let's not forget that Greenland has like 10% of the fresh water reserves in the entire world. Fresh water that is hiding in the core of Greenland waters. Very important asset to protect. Well, thanks for the insight, Jeremiah. Waters are very, yeah, thanks for letting us know that water is a very important asset. You know, you can't go like 2 days without it, but appreciate it. All right, here's some other people. I'm sold. Let's bring them to the fold. I respect their tenacity and strength. Would love Greenland to join with us. Better my taxes go to help them than continue to go to countries that hate us. Love it, Charlie. Keep up the good work. I mean, these people are just walking around with blindfolds, and it's amazing how the left views the right and the right views the left. Each side thinks the other side is completely living in space. Like, you know, oh, they're so dumb. I don't even know. But they're both living in space. They're both living in a simulated reality. They're both stuck in the left-right paradigm. And all their information comes from their party because they're communists at the core. All the stuff they believe in, that gets fed to them from the alt-right media, it gets fed to them from Donald Trump, and the other side gets fed to them from their liberal media, from CNN, from Rachel Maddows, or all these other puppets on television, right? And then they look at the other side and they're like, what do they talk? They're crazy. These people don't know what's going on, right? Love it, Charlie. Keep up the good work. Yeah. Walking off a cliff with a blindfold on. Thanks for following up on this. I was thinking it died once Denmark agreed to pump additional resources up there to protect the new waterways. We love the people of Greenland, right? And that's the response. That's how easy it is to brainwash, right? Just like I talked about a couple of days ago, if you didn't see the video, right? How are we going to get people convinced to get into electric vehicles, right? Because conservatives are anti-electric vehicle because they don't believe in the climate initiative, right? They love gas. They love, pretty quickly they were able to convince them, right? You aligned Elon Musk with Trump, and then you crash his stock, and you have Donald Trump have Tesla cars pull up to the White House, and he tells everybody out there, we need to unite. They're united against us. We have to unite. And by uniting, we all need to buy Teslas, right? Without saying we all need to drive electric vehicles. And what do they all do? You read all the comments under those videos. I'm going to get one. I'm getting rid of my car. Sheryl Crow gave up her Tesla to make a point. Well, I'll get rid of my car and I'll buy a Tesla. Next thing these people know, oopsies, we're all driving around Teslas, electric vehicles. But we promised we were never going to do that. But now it's not that important because it's more important to just side with your party like a communist, but these people, of course, don't believe that they actually are communists. And again, this stuff all comes through humor. The alt-right media is using humor as their tactic to condition you, to program you. So they crack jokes about little brother, Trudeau and Canada, it's pathetic, right? And then they go, well, and on top of it, serious though, because there's resources. And then the people listening just go, yeah, there's resources we need. As if, those are resources that are coming to your front door. If you want to acquire resources, get resources in your own home, hide them, protect them, learn how to acquire resources, right? Learn how to, get water out of the ground, learn how to farm, protect. Those are things that you could do. When the government tells you that they're going to get resources, they're not going to you. Oh, rubies. That's really going to help all of us. What are we playing, Zelda? Do we need rubies? What are we going to, they're going to come to our home and give us rubies? We're going to walk around and make purchases with rubies. So it's ridiculous, right? But humor. And remember when Trump gave that speech, his address to Congress a couple of weeks ago, you can just watch how they used humor there, right? Everybody was laughing about Greenland, pathetic little Greenland. Oh, Greenland, we're going to get you one way or the other. The guys in the background, Mike Johnson and Vance, just laughing it up about Greenland.
A message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security. And we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together We will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before.
Right? So to them, humor is how they're really getting this mind control buried in their minds. They're kind of passively saying these things, right? They're passively talking about acquiring Greenland. Like, it's just a joke anyway. So when they hear people like me talking about the North American Union, talking about the Club of Rome, talking about the 10 Kingdom Plan, right? Which is biblical, the 10 Kingdom Plan. When we're talking about it, they dismiss it because of this mind control tactic. That's why they're using it. Because they go, it's not as serious as you think. So you could show them this. You could say, here, 10 Kingdom Plan, this is what it is, right? And they go, okay, that's interesting. And Club of Rome, who were they? You can explain all that stuff to them, right? The secrets is that they should know what these groups are, right? And you say, this is what it is. Okay, they look at it and they go, But then they automatically will go, yeah, but I don't think that's what Trump's doing, you know? And then you go, why don't you think that's what Donald Trump's doing? And it's because of these tactics you just saw. It's funny, you know? It's funny to just steal Greenland, just to take what we want. It's funny to just take Canada. They're only doing it because it's funny. And there's some resources, by the way. And then they go from saying, 10 Kingdom Plan, is Trump one of them, to going, nah, it's not that serious. You're making it out to be way more serious than it is. In fact, you'll see some of these people really try to dissect the map and look at other countries and say, well, what's going on over there? That part, well, it's coming. It's all coming. All these little things that are occurring with Russia, Ukraine, Poland over there, that's all being done deliberately. It's coming, right? But they don't expect you to pay attention to other countries other than your own anyway. So the people will look at stuff like this and they'll dismiss it because they'll say, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's the plan. And they'll go back to the humor because it's being programmed into them to laugh it off. That's what they're subconsciously doing. They're programming these people to laugh off the notion of taking Greenland and taking Canada as if it's not a big deal. It's not a part of the New World Order blueprint. It's just some funny little thing that we're doing. And we're going to get resources. And on top of that, it's going to keep us safe because Russia apparently and China are just circling boats up there. And these people believe this propaganda, right? They call the Democrat media, the liberal media, CNN, oh, that's all fake news. Everything they put on there is fake. It's a lie, right? But they believe this. Yeah, there's boats circling Greenland. It's so, they really want to acquire Greenland, China. If China wanted to acquire it, they could have acquired it. If Russia wanted to acquire it, they could have acquired it. They're told what to acquire. They know what the plan is. So they're not acquiring it. They're not attempting to acquire. China acquired it overnight if they wanted to, right? I mean, it's a joke. They'll probably start saying more and more about that to get people on board. Ooh, there's threats that they're coming for Greenland. Oh, a fake terror act there. America comes in to protect Greenland. Then Greenland goes, yay, we want America. Please protect us. Let's just become one. You saved us, right? That's how easy it is to deceive. It's unbelievable. So pay attention to this because it's coming. It's 100% happening at some point. I don't know when, but I believe that there'll be some turmoil to make people accept it. Obviously, lots of, this tariff thing is deliberately being done. You ask anybody out there about the tariff stuff, they're just like, I don't know why Trump's doing it. It doesn't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't make any sense. They're doing it because somebody's going to have to back down. It's going to be Canada eventually. You're going to cause Canada to go broke, right? And then you're also going to pretend and do rumors of, us sending our military. I mean, it's just going to go back and forth until eventually Canada folds and becomes part of America. And Greenland will be threatened by other countries and it'll all be fictitious. It'll all be completely fake. But they'll believe those media stories and they'll say, we have to get Greenland now. We have to save the people of Greenland. I wouldn't be surprised if, it would be the funniest thing if they do something like that and these conservatives start flying Greenland flags in their front lawn, just like the other sheep will fly the Ukrainian flags. That would be pretty hilarious to actually see. But the alt-right media is such a dangerous threat. And, I'm one of those channels, like I'm brand new YouTuber, wink, wink. But for those of you, and I know there's not many who are still around because of all the things that they've done to me on here. But, I don't often do videos. I don't like to talk about other channels. Like, you'll never see me go after a channel with like 50,000 subscribers, just to go out and be like, look at this guy. Don't listen to this guy. A lot of that's something that happens in this community because jealousy is a big thing. Happened to me a lot because my channel blew up so big all over and over and over again. So people would just attack me and say I'm a shill. They're like, it's not possible for this guy to get this many subs. And they would never attack the quality of my work or what I was saying. It was just the fact that my channel was growing. I rarely would respond. Sometimes I would because some people would get so sickly harassing, like they would follow me or, try to find my, just sick stuff. So I put them in their place. I mean, most of you, maybe some of you remember some of the videos I did where I completely ran over some of these guys. But I think people get upset with even, covering other channels because they don't want to see everybody infight. But these guys are not part of the truth movement. There's other channels out there that are like mine that are trying to do the same exact thing. We're all trying to do the same exact thing and help people. These guys who are attending Donald Trump's inauguration speech, I shouldn't have to explain that they're shills. I shouldn't have to explain like Russell Brand is a shill, but that's what we've gotten to, that we have to explain to people that they're controlled op. They're like, what? Russell Brand? I'm like, you kidding me? Guy was with a Rothschild. Guy was with Katy Perry. I mean, he got a podcast, Under the Skin. He's got 33 tattooed on his wrist. He's a celebrity. And they're like, I don't know. He's on planes with Puff Daddy. They're like, yeah, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, they can't even identify if Russell Brand is a show at this point. So the alt-right media, they make them look like, they're not, they're just, have their own little podcast because they're not on national television, right? They're promoted all over YouTube. They're showing up at the White House and deliberately being put on TV. What does that do to their quote-unquote credibility for the conservatives? It boosts it. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh sitting there, cameras zooming in at Trump's speech. How they even get invited in the first place is unbelievable. But these people are not a part of any type of organic movement. It's very easy to see. So when I say talking about attacking others, I know there'll be people out there that are just woke up. This is the government at work. This isn't even like speculation. This isn't even me just being like, I don't like Charlie Kirk. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I'm going to do a video attacking them. Okay, these guys are dangerous because these guys are leading the conservatives into being on board with the New World Order. They're leading them right into it, right into the pit. And they don't even see it. And it's like, these aren't like little organic YouTube channels. Okay, the Daily Wire is a major operation. They're making Hollywood production movies, etc. But people don't see it. Okay, there's no truth in anything they do. And what they're doing is extremely dangerous because we're seeing people who could be part of a revolution getting sucked into actually the New World Order. They're more on board with the New World Order plan right now than the Dems are. That's how crazy this seesaw has gone. Because now the conservatives are calling for censorship on liberals because, well, they did it to us for years, so they want them censored. The liberals are like very anti the acquisition of Canada and Greenland, right? So they're technically against this. They don't even know that they're actually against the New World Order blueprint by being against it because they don't have much of a clue because they think that we're all, insane. But when they come to channels like mine, I would hope that a liberal Democrat would say, hey, wait a minute, this guy he's not MAGA, he's not Trump. Maybe there is something to this conspiracy because none of this stuff makes sense. That's what the goal is, the hope is. But a lot of them come and think that I'm automatically MAGA because they did that deliberately. They yoked up conspiracy with MAGA. And the people in MAGA don't have the slightest clue about what's true and what's not. They believe in government-fed conspiracies like the guy's island, like everyone's heading on planes over there with flight logs that are available to the public when all this stuff is happening underground, and that's a fact that it's happening underground. So they look at government-fed rabbit holes. You wouldn't even know about the existence of that guy, Jeffrey, if they didn't want you to know. They would have whacked him in a second, and you never would have heard about him, okay? So they can't think further than that. They think a little bit. They have good intentions, but they're very easily manipulated. They decide, well, this is control media, but this isn't. Oh, okay, right. These people who are not censored, by the way, right? None of these guys, they pretend to be censored. Oh my gosh, I'm censored. Candace, I get censored all the time, right? Yeah, right. Try renaming yourself 88 times. How does that? See how that works out so people can find you and find your information, Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching the massive herding of MAGA conservatives. They're getting herded now into electric vehicles, and they're getting herded into the North American Union, and they don't even know it. Share this video. Let people know. God bless all of you, as always, and your families.